Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm here to talk about the Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes controversy. There's a couple of things that happened with this game, with the release of this game, released a few days ago as of the making of this video. One of them is about the localization, and the other one is about the many bugs and glitches and technical problems it had when it was released, even before being released. Now, I'm one of the people that got a beta review code about a month ago to share my first impressions with everybody, and courtesy of 505 Games, the publisher of this game. Back then, of course, the game didn't have any technical issues whatsoever, but it did have some localization issues. Now, we're going to address the technical issues first, because there's something that I said in my recent review. In case you haven't watched it, pause this video if you want to and go and watch it, or watch it later if you want to. But I did point out the fact that, unfortunately, the game had a couple of bugs that prevented players from recruiting every single character. Unfortunately, if you do not recruit every single character in this game, you don't get a bad ending. There doesn't seem to be a bad ending. No matter what you do, you get the same ending. But if you don't get all characters, you need to know, sorry for the small spoiler, but you need to know one main important character dies, okay? But if you get them all, and I just proved it earlier today, I finished recruiting every single character, and this character doesn't die anymore, and that's all I'm gonna say. No spoilers, that's all I'm gonna say. So yeah, if you don't want this main important character to die, recruit every single character in the game. But I'm mentioning this because in my review, I did point out the fact that the game was bugged. I got a review code about a couple of weeks ago, less than 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago or so, and I got the bad ending. Well, not the bad ending, the character that I mentioned died because I couldn't complete the game, because I couldn't recruit 2 characters that were missable because the game was glitched. Now, I show that, and I show that in my review. Fortunately, immediately, the next day, the developers uploaded a patch to PlayStation consoles. I'm pretty sure they did the same with the other versions, Steam, Xbox, maybe Switch. I'm not sure about Switch. I'm still seeing a lot of complaints about the performance on Switch. But I get the feeling that this patch fixed the recruitment issues with all characters, and immediately after it was uploaded, it got fixed and I could recruit the characters that I couldn't before. But the first controversy is that, why release a game like this? Why do you need to rely on day 1 patches or day 2 or day 3 patches? I mean, this is just dumb. I've seen a lot of releases, and this is not only for JRPGs, this is for almost every single game in existence, man. That's been happening for a few years already, that they release a game and it's not fixed. There's a lot of bugs, a lot of issues. What happened to quality assurance? What happened to quality control? You know, I do remember when games were tested to death by many different people, and they got everything. They were completionists. They did everything and made sure the game ran properly. So why would you release your game like this? I understand it's supposed to be an indie RPG, but come on, people. You made 4.5 million US dollars, and you can't give us, a good release without these issues? I understand when there's sometimes some technical issues, some performance issues here and there. Maybe frames drop in the cinematic or in these cutscenes. Maybe there's a little bit of screen tearing. Maybe there's, I don't know, a small bug or a glitch or something that doesn't prevent anything from happening. It doesn't affect the story or the progression, nothing. Those, I'm still of the same mentality. You shouldn't release your game like that, but I can forgive those. But releasing a game with a killer bug like this, that's preventing players from getting a true ending. So, I just don't think it's fair. A lot of people got a review code from the company, and also a lot of backers of the Kickstarter got their game a week before, or more like 10 days before the game got released. And I don't think it's fair to do that. Don't release a game like this. You have no excuse. If it was an indie game that only got $100,000, $200,000, not even $500,000, I get it, right? I get it. I played some indie games in the past that had a lot of issues, a lot of technical issues, and I was like, well, this is a low-budget game, It's still kind of inexcusable, but yeah, I can forgive. I can be more tolerant to this. But this, $4.5 million, and what the hell happened to quality assurance? But anyway, most of the issues and the big issues have been fixed, so at least they didn't waste any time to fix what they did wrong. And about the localization, okay, wow, that's a big one. I saved the best one for last because this is a problem nowadays. It's been happening since several years ago, and it's getting stronger thanks to the DEI regulations and new rules for every game seems to be targeted nowadays. And when it comes to JRPGs, I've seen a lot of this nonsense in the past couple of years. This is one of my most anticipated JRPGs or video games of all time, of all history, since I've been playing video games. And because it is a spiritual successor of my favorite JRPG series of all time that died many, many years ago. So it was supposed to be a comeback developed by most of the guys from the original Suikoden team, including the creator Yoshitaka Murayama, rest in peace. And in my opinion, what these guys did is evil, and what these people are doing with these localizations and these translations is evil. However, there's something you need to know. This has been happening since forever in every country of the world. Every country has different politics, and when it comes to Western politics, nowadays they seem to be all the same about censorship, about altering content to avoid offending minorities, or to avoid depicting a certain character in a certain way that may be perceived as offensive. To be completely honest, I am against that, as you may already know. If you've been watching my Q&As for the past several years, you know I speak openly against that. I hate politics. I have no political views. A lot of people often ask me, what are your political views? What do you think of this? I have no political views. Politics always ruin entertainment, always. Whether it's from the right or the left, all they do is oppress each other, trying to force their beliefs on others, and that's what they're doing in video games. Trying to force their beliefs and their ideals into someone else's art, and that's inexcusable. That's just evil, in my opinion. However, I've also seen a lot of complaints about how people think that the developers should do something about it, Japanese developers. Some of them are actually doing something about it. The development team of Stellar Blade gave the middle finger to this nonsense, to this DEI nonsense. Same with apparently Visions of Mana, but that's a game that's yet to be released. Stellar Blade is out already as of the making of this video, so we're gonna find out if this developer really stood his ground, right? But when it comes to Eiyuden Chronicle and many, many, many other video games in existence, including a lot of indie RPGs and a lot of indie games, it seems to me that this oppression has gone way too far already. And what am I talking about? Like I said before, altering the script. And I made a point about that in my video, because these people not only alter scripts based on their political beliefs, they also alter scripts because I have no clue why. And I showed an example of that. I remember when I did my review of Trails from Zero, the remaster, same thing. They were adding sentences to characters just saying one word. They were like, oh, the character said in Japanese, oh, and the translation was an entire sentence. Sure, it wasn't political or anything. There was no agenda in there, but it was just a sentence, like maybe to add more context. But what's wrong with saying, oh? It's just, I don't understand why they do that. And this is something that's been going on for years, for decades. If you think this is something new, localizers have been butchering games over and over again, more so than before, you're kind of wrong. Do your research. And a perfect example is a company Working Designs. I'm a big fan of Working Designs, but man, those games changed a lot of things and a lot of dialogue. Not for the sake of politics, thankfully, just for the sake of being more funny and more comedic, but still, it's kind of disrespectful. Changing what the original dialogue or the original line or the original script says. It doesn't really alter most of the time a character's personality, but it kind of does. In Eiyuden Chronicle, it doesn't. Like I said in the review, I didn't notice any really strong political agendas. Most of the main story and the characters' personalities and the major events, that was left intact. I'd like to believe. I don't know Japanese. You let me know. Most of the alterations, were done to just a few insignificant pieces of dialogue, like the ones you're seeing right now. Like things are like, what is this? The character did not say this. Why add this? It's just, like I said, it's just evil. I don't care what kind of political beliefs you have. You can't just force them on someone else's work. You can't just alter them just to please a specific type of people in your country. You don't just do that. You don't like what these people say or these characters say. You think it's offensive. Don't localize it. Leave it to another team. Maybe a better team than you will pick it up and localize it and get a better translation for us players. However, like I mentioned before, the game doesn't have any major alterations, any major changes just for the sake of wokeness. It doesn't seem to. Okay, so I still recommend the game. I still think it's a fantastic game. I still believe it's the Suikoden 6 we have all been waiting for many, many years. This is a stupidly strongly recommended game. Just, if you're gonna buy it, if you're gonna play it, just keep that in mind. Expect the worst out of the localization. It isn't bad, actually. It's not a bad localization. It's just kind of, well, leaving the politics aside, the rest of the localization is fine. Some things were changed for no reason, but they are the same context. They don't change the context, that's what I'm trying to say. And most of the personalities and behaviors of the characters stay intact, okay? So it is still very recommended. The DEI wasn't that freaking harsh with these games. We've seen other games with forced inclusion and major changes to personalities and characters and stuff like that, and that's something I do not recommend, okay? I guess it's a matter of trying to be a little bit more tolerant with certain games to a certain extent, and this is one of them. But others, they have already been completely destroyed and ruined by these localization teams, unfortunately. And I know what you're gonna throw at me, okay? I want to say something about the character Marisa, as she's pronounced in Japanese, Marisa, she's a black character and a female black character. First and foremost, I'm gonna have to defend not just the character, but the entire series in itself, okay? The Suikoden series has always been about a lot of characters from different races, from different colors, from different cultures. That's always been the point since the very first Suikoden released in 1996. Okay, this is the mentality of Yoshitaka Murayama, who wrote the script of the first 3 games. And one of those 3 games, Suikoden 3, look at Hugo, the protagonist, and his entire family. Look at this guy. Come on, you're gonna say this is woke too? Come on, right? Okay, these games have always been like this. They are the type of games and stories that add a lot of characters from different races and cultures and all over the world. The world is a fictitious world, that's true, but you get characters from every single race in existence in that same universe. Hugo was one of the main characters, the 3 main characters in Suikoden 3. So I guess Murayama wanted to follow the same formula with this new entry, Eiyuden Chronicle. It has 3 protagonists, the 2 guys and Marisa. Now, I don't think the character is woke per se, but I do believe that there was some political agenda in there. And I'll let you know, this is just a theory of mine. We will never know because Yoshitaka Murayama has passed away and there's no way anybody can ask him that. But when the game was first announced and during its first years of development, there was no Marisa. Marisa was there in the background, in the wallpapers and shit, and the trailers, sure, but the entire focus was on these 2 guys, Noah and Sane. And that was it. Everybody else seemed to be like an important character, but not a protagonist. So then all of a sudden, 505 Games decides to publish the game because it was a really successful Kickstarter. So they jumped in, and all of a sudden they start releasing these trailers with Marisa being shown as one of the 3 main characters, as a very important character. So maybe Marisa herself, the character, and the other characters that appear in there of different colors, including Leon. No, man, I don't think it's woke at all, whatsoever. That's just Suikoden being Suikoden, Murayama being Murayama. But maybe Marisa's protagonism is a bit woke. But like I said, there's just no way to know because Murayama is dead. Maybe he was the creator of that idea. Maybe Marisa was supposed to be a main character from the start. We will never know. But I saved this controversy for last because it is the most... At the beginning, it felt like the most relevant. But now, after playing the game and finishing it, I feel it's the most irrelevant controversy. So in conclusion, it's kind of sad and kind of embarrassing that they released a game with this box, with this fatal box. Thankfully, they fixed them really soon, but same thing, man. You do not release a game like that with fatal flaws. Especially, you do not send this game, a week or 2 before to reviewers and to backers of your Kickstarter, like this. And about the localization, well, to hell with these guys, to be honest, because all they do is inject their political nonsense into someone else's work, with or without their permission. That's beside the point. What they're doing is political propaganda, political agendas, and it's honestly not just hypocritical, but cowardly as well. This is cowardice. And well, you expect the worst out of these people. You know how they are. Every time you criticize them, you are a racist, you're a homophobe, you are a sexist, you are a misogynist. They're gonna call you names because these names are all they have to hide behind their cowardice and their hypocrisy. Eiyuden Chronicle, strongly recommended. Please give it a chance. Try to ignore this political garbage. It's a very, very recommended game, and it's worth, trust me, it is freaking worth putting through all this translation nonsense. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the game, and shove your damn politics up your ass.